Hey everybody, Bill Caskey. It's 8:30. Thought you'd like something a little different today, since it is the week before Easter, Good Friday, Passover, Palm Sunday, all those things, depending upon what you worship, if anything. I thought it would be good this week to talk about some stories in the Bible and scriptures that can help us as we make our way through 2024. So I do not hold myself out to be any kind of an expert in biblical teachings. I am interested in it and study it, but I'm not an expert in it. So this is not meant to disciple anybody in any way. But I do think there's some good stories there, and I want to start today with this what's called the woman of Shunammite. And I've got some thoughts on it. And when over the last few weeks, we've been talking a lot on this broadcast, this transmission, about your gifts and about how to best use those gifts. And we've even talked about it in terms of thinking about those gifts as assets. Assets are things and physical or non-physical advantages that you have that you can exploit and deploy in the marketplace. Maybe you're a good singer, maybe you're a great speaker, maybe you're a really good writer. We have all sorts of gifts that we have available to us. We're not good at everything. None of us are good at everything, but most of us have one or two things that we're pretty good at. If we can stack those skills, then I think we can make a lot of progress. And so this story from the Bible I thought was really good. I'm going to put this up on the screen. I know it's very small. I'm going to read it really quickly. A certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets cried out to Elisha, who was a prophet. He had a prophet school or university, or I don't know what the actual word was then. But and the lady said, "Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that your servant feared the Lord, and the creditor is coming to take my two sons to be his slaves." So Elisha said to her, "What shall I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in the house?" And she said, "Your maidservant has nothing in the house but a jar of oil." Then he said, "Go, borrow vessels from everywhere, from all your neighbors, empty vessels. Do not gather just a few. And when you have come in, you shall shut the door behind you and your sons. Then pour it into all of those vessels and set aside the full ones." So what Elisha the prophet is saying here is, what do you have? Okay, your husband has died. You've got kids. You've got debt. I think there was a passage before that talked about the debt that husband had incurred, maybe to send him to prophet school. I'm not sure, but anyway, he had debt. And in those days, when you have debt and you die, your family can be indentured servants to the person to whom you're in debt. So she didn't want that. And so she asked Elisha, "What should I do?" And he said, "What do you have in the house? Tell me what you have in the house." And she says, "No, I got nothing except for some oil. I got nothing except for some oil." And I think when the lesson here for us, to me, is when, as a coach, as somebody who works with a lot of people, and people come to me and they say, "Look, I want more. I want to grow. I want to build my audience, and I want to build my income. I want to build my wealth." I always want to know, well, what do you have? What's your gift? What are you really good at? What's available to you that maybe is not available to just anybody else? And so Elisha asked her that question, and she said, "Well, I got nothing, but I do have some oil." So here's what he says. So she went from him, shut the door behind her and her sons, who brought the vessels to her, and she poured the oil out. Now it came to pass, when the vessels were full, that she said to her son, "Bring me more. We have more oil left. We want some more vessels." And he said, "There's not another vessel." So the oil ceased. Then she came and told the man of God, and he said, "Go, sell the oil, pay your debt, and you and your sons live on the rest." Now there's a word there or the sentence that I don't understand, but he says, "And he said to her, there is not another vessel." So the oil ceased. So the oil ceased, to me, means that if you're not getting your gifts out there, her gift was the oil. If you're not getting your gifts out there in whatever fashion and form it takes, whether it's social media, whether it's presentations, whether it's cold outreach, whatever it is, then the gift sees. If you don't get the gifts out there, the additional gifts sees. And now whether you agree with that or not, that's put in there. It kind of snuck, whoever wrote this kind of snuck that in there and said, okay, well, if you don't have any more vessels, the oil sees. So to me, our vessels are the marketplace and the channels that we have to go out and tell our story. And our story is our gift. Our gift is the ability to tell that story. And so I thought it was a really good story today to kick off this. I don't know what we'll call this. We'll have. I don't want to call it religious week. That's a weird thing. Spiritual week. Anyway, I know that many of you are people who read the Bible and study the Word. Some of you are not. But either way, I wanted to share that story because I do think it's important that sometimes when someone asks us what our gifts are, like, what are your gifts? Tell me what your gifts are. And we don't know that. And I think we could go out and do that exercise that you've probably heard people do and at seminars, go ask your top 10 acquaintances, friends, family, what am I really good at? That's kind of a awkward thing, but you could do that. But my question is, what they would say. If I ask you, said, Bob, what would your 10 best friends say about you and your gifts? You would give me the right answer. That may not be the right one every time, but you would give me that. So I think we've got to do a better job of looking at our gifts and using our gifts like the woman from Shunammite used the oil. She had the vessels. She ran out of vessels, and the oil sees. Don't run out of vessels. That's my tip for you today. If you have not yet bought the Bold Moves book, 12 Bold Moves, it's going to help you reinvent your skills, reinvent your results. If you've not gone to 12boldmoves.com, there's a video there. Just check it out. I talk about a little bit on that video about what this book is about, but I think it might be helpful if you want to do that. So tomorrow, we're going to talk about another story from the Bible. I think we're going to talk about the talents story because that really makes it, it dives really deep into how we can all be better at what we do. And that's the essence of this week is I want to bring stories to you. And these stories, the talent stories, but sometimes it's nice to hear it again. And I'm going to give you maybe a little bit different interpretation of it, according to me, when it comes to business and capitalism and skills and things like that. So I hope you join me tomorrow. BillCaskey.com. We'll talk to you tomorrow about a program we have coming up second week in April. I'm not quite ready to tell you about that yet, but I will tomorrow. All right. See you guys. Appreciate you. Leave a comment. Let me know if you like this.